Yupararapamayakonu. Yupararapamayakonu. Makaye kore moro. Yupararapamayakonu yakonu. O atene wapayakono. O atene wapayakono. Makaye kore moro. O atene wapayakono yakono. Hayanetene wapayakono. Hayanetene wapayakono. Makaye kore moro. Hayanetene wapayakono yakono. O atene wapayakono. O atene wapayakono. Makaye kore moro. O atene wapayakono yakono. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. No more weeping, no more weeping, oh, no more weeping over me. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. Oh, freedom.
The latest map puts all of this,
Yeah.
including the jail site,
Yeah.
including the power station,
Right.
right up the valley to where you head straight into,
The base of that hill.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
as the upper burial ground.
Are you kidding me? This is huge.
Yeah.
This is massive.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you see globally, or what patterns and connections
that you see, because it's a global story as it's
Yeah.
repeated in the film?
Yeah, I mean, St. Helena, going to visit the site, really resonated with me as a descendant of enslaved people on both sides, on both of my parents' sides. So, first of all, meeting Nina and realizing that she had two small children, and when I started my journey, I had two small children, and I had done this work 30 plus years earlier. And to come to the island and see this site, and the reaction that I had was to realize that this was a Middle Passage site. And suddenly there was this major connection between the US and all of the burial grounds that I was working on there. I mean, I'm working on like 7 or 8 burial grounds, right, in various communities, African American communities, and globally. And so what this means is it reminds people, and it should remind people, that the transatlantic slave trade and slavery was a global affair, and that we can't tell this story without me connecting to St. Helena, or me connecting to St. Eustatius, or any of these other sites. And so this is critical. St. Helena and this story, and the fact that the directors chose to do this story, it's critical from that perspective.
And do you see similar patterns of silence, opaque conversations, decision making?
I'm usually, I carry the title, I work for myself. I carry the title as a cultural projects consultant, and I was recently asked, do you consider yourself an activist? I said that the very nature of this work is activist work, whether you're on the street or in the boardroom or in the highest, the halls of presidency. Because this work usually calls for you to reclaim properties that have been in the hands of other people far too long, and they don't realize it was never theirs to begin with, and that there is an outstanding debt of reparative justice owed.
Of hope. I just don't have any tangible connection except for being in spaces like this. I found that being able to have the conversation openly with open questions is an oasis for a topic and a conversation that is so difficult to have. And that's a beginning. That is a real start. And I think after centuries of trauma and then centuries of neglect, we all just need to get around the table and have a conversation. And since the release of the film, the government of St. Helena and the UK government, they didn't include us in a conversation. The arrangement of that reburial was done without a conversation. They completely closed up. And that is not healthy. That's not how we deal with this.
No, because it says there are a couple of things that I would like clarity on, if you can help, or if you know at all. How is it possible that this money was just suddenly retracted? Was there a reason, given the 90,000 that was initially assigned for the burial? Was there a reason?
There was never any explanation. It was just a matter of what was a priority for the government at the time. I don't even think they can remember what they spent that £90,000 on. That's how insignificant that decision was for them. There was no consideration of the impact it would have on the descendants, on the significance of memory. There was no consideration, and that shows. There's never been any consideration.
So that's the same type of relationship that is maintained then. So the burial is done and there's no open conversation, everything's shut down, done behind closed doors.
There's no honest reflection. There's no need to heal. There's no recognition that it even ever happened or that anyone was ever traumatized by it. It is just a vacuum.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Well, yes. When we speak about the system, we are speaking about, in this case, in the first place, decolonization, in the first place, of those systems. If you look at, right now, Sister Peggy is in an implementation commission in St. Eustatius. If we look at the St. Eustatius Center for Archaeology and Research, which, by the way, committed those crimes against our ancestors' remains. I call them crimes. And It's an organization which has no certification to even move one stone here in the Netherlands or throughout Europe, much less to take up anything. But yet, because of colonial laws and loopholes within those legislative, say, laws, SECA, which we call it in short, can go about business as usual and being funded by private organizations at the same time. And again, like I said, the Leidse University are all embedded as structures within the academia which are all involved in this big business. Our ancestors' remains, our artifacts has been seen today as business. It's a corporate business. They've been stolen and sold throughout the world, and that is what is going on. So we need to, from a global point of view, come together and force those structures and systems to see themselves and, you know, pay for the crimes as well.
Yeah.